Who likes to pay tax? Who likes to pay GST? I don't think so. Anyone likes to do that. Today, we're discussing a chapter called exemptions, which is the most important chapter at CA Inter and very important at CA Final 2. My name is Saurabh Mutta and welcome to SMAT. I bring brand new lectures on brand new days to help you get brand new marks in your CA exams. And today's agenda is to give you a whole new perspective and to help you learn, revise, re-revise, and give you lots of shortcuts. We're looking at the ICI module entirely, lots of sums in store, exam sums, at least about 10 to 12 marks will come from this chapter, minimum out of 40 marks at CA Inter and out of 100 marks at CA Final. So watch out and watch till the end to get lots of tricks and tips and to remember this chapter really, really well. Welcome to SMAT, and here we go, guys. So what exactly is exemptions? I'll tell you a very recent example. People are saying that in COVID medicines, etc., should be exempted. So here is someone, let's say he manufactures COVID medicines. He manufactures COVID medicines. And right now, whenever you buy the COVID medicine or you buy an oximeter or any of that, you will have to pay plus GST on that. That means it is not exempted. No, it is not exempted. But because guys, this is a taxable good, he can take ITC, that is input tax credit, on his inputs. So wherever he's taking his inputs goods, input services, he can take an ITC only because the final goods are taxable. But the demand of the industry is that these goods, these medicines, COVID related medicines should now become exempt. And we are going to study that chapter right now and today. Guys, exemption basically means that there should be no GST on that. But unfortunately, for these manufacturers, they will not get ITC then. So it's a bad thing, a little bad for them, but for the general public, it's really good because exemption means you don't pay GST on it. So that means you don't pay slightly extra on that medicine and so many other things that we'll see today. Guys, first up, just a little about exemption. There is an umbrella of exemption, guys. This umbrella covers three things specifically. It covers two ends, and then of course it covers exemption. That means what, guys? What all is included whenever the GST, whenever your exam says are these goods are exempted, it could mean three things. One is it could be exempted by a notification. As you know, the GST Council, the brain of the GST, comes up with notifications, and it could be exempted through a notification that on these medicines, etc., there should be no GST. It could be a notification. It could be nil rate of tax. It could be any good which is so important or any service which is so important which is taxable at nil rate, means zero rate, and it could be not taxable. Example, you know, those five products, petrol, diesel, etc., are not taxable. You know, alcohol is not taxable. So all these are coming under the exemption umbrella. So exemption includes three things. One, those are exempt by the notification, and two ends, that is nil and not taxable. So we will do exam questions, guys. We will do ICI module questions, which also test your knowledge on this. So this is the exemption umbrella. That's the first thing I wanted to discuss. The second thing, now my focus is on the notification, guys. Can the central government come up with a notification? Yes, the central government has the powers to come up with a notification, and they came up with one notification, notification number 12 of 2017. If you want to remember one thing, should remember this notification. It is notification number 12 of the year 2017. That is the year when GST came into picture. And through this notification, they exempted a lot of services that we're going to see today. So through this notification, they exempted a lot of things. But guys, exemption, the third thing that you should know, comes under which section? Section 11 of the CGST Act, guys. Section 11 of the CGST Act, 11.1 and 11.2 and 11.3 talk about exemption. You don't need to know the subsections, but you should know that one of them is a general exemption. Example, all hospitals cannot charge GST. That's a general exemption. Next is a specific exemption by a special order. Let's say that Pfizer on their COVID medicine will not charge GST, will be exempted from GST. It's only applicable on Pfizer. So it's a specific order, special order. And this is basically a clarification. If they want to issue any clarification, they can do that within a year of issuing the notification, and that clarification will have meaning from the date of issuing the notification. Not really important, but you should know just the section 11 of the CGST Act empowers the central government to issue these kind of notifications for exemptions. And guys, exemption is a really, really happy chapter, because for most people, guys, exemption is a good thing, because then they will not be subject to paying GST. Are we talking about exemption on goods? No, we don't talk about exemption on goods, because they don't test you on goods, because there are so many goods. So hence GST exemption on goods is not tested. What is tested basically is exemption on services. Which services are exempt? How are they exempt? We'll see one by one. Lots of shortcuts. Let's take the first one. Guys, the first one is basically charitable associations and religious associations, the one which are registered. So you could take Tirumala Trust in south of India, you could take Vaishno Devi Trust in north of India, or Siddhivinayak Trust in Mumbai. So if these religious and charitable trusts, whenever they do something, are they exempted? Let's have a look on that right away. So first up, what are the charitable activities? What are the charitable activities, guys? The shortcut for that is HEER. HEER are the charitable activities which are exempted. First is public health. If these charitable and these religious associations which are registered, guys, they have to register under section 12AA and now 12AB of the Income Tax Act. Not really important from GST perspective, but if they're registered under those, that means registered charitable and religious association. Yes, when they provide services of public health, that means people who are very old, people who are terminally ill, people who are downtrodden, who can't afford public health, and they give health services. Or basically they give services in relation to environment, or they give services in relation to religion, including spirituality and yoga. Guys, this religion is not just religion, it means religion, spirituality, and yoga. And in the field of education, guys, education not for you and me, but for very, very poor people, downtrodden people, etc. When they give education services, these services, when they will charge money, they will not charge GST. So what is the shortcut for charitable activities here? Healthcare, education, environment, including wildlife, forests, etc., and religion. Guys, religion, remember, includes spirituality and yoga. So if Tirumala Trust organizes a yoga camp, that will be exempt. Guys, let's talk a yoga about a little bit. Guys, when they organize a yoga camp, even staying, even food is composite. It's composite with yoga, and hence those will also be exempt. Moving ahead, guys, we are only talking about religious and charitable institutions which are registered right now. So when they run old age homes, so people who are old, they run old age homes for them. So if the old age homes, the charging is not more than 25,000, that means they don't charge more than 25,000, that is exempt. If they provide any recreational sports training, so let's say Tirumala Trust provides sports training in soccer, so the sports training is not subject to GST, guys. That is basically for religious and charitable associations which are registered. Now, those religious and those anyone basically, even if they're not registered, when they provide recreational art and culture training like Kathak dancing, etc., or some other art form or culture training, then in that case, that is also exempt. Any religious, basically any pandit, etc., which conduct religious ceremonies, any one of them who conduct religious ceremonies, that is exempt. So there is no charging of tax on that. Also, guys, when in the presence of a religious body, let's say Tirumala Trust, around that there are rooms, there are shops, and there is a hall which they give around rent. These are basically belonging to the Tirumala Trust. The rooms up to 1,000 rupees are exempt, shops 10,000 per month is exempt, and hall rent up to 10,000 per event is exempt. If they are within those limits, then they are exempt. Guys, any religious camp, etc., like Hajj, like Kumaon Vikas Mandal, which they have religious camps up north, and Hajj, which basically takes you to Saudi for a Muslim religious camp and they come back, that is also not subject to GST. So just revising here, yoga camps, old age homes, recreational sports training, recreational arts and culture training, religious ceremonies, and any religious camps, etc., those are exempt. But of course, these are all for charitable, which are registered under 12AA and 12AB. The section is not important, but the fact that they are registered, that has to be the case. And guys, these limits are important. Room up to 1,000, hall and shops, 10 below 10,000 is okay. 10,000 or more is a problem. Up to 10, below 10,000 is no problem. Perfect. Now, guys, these are all output services. If the same Tirumala Trust gets any services, so let's say the Tirumala Trust, this is the Tirumala Trust, and they put ACs in some of their offices, then those ACs, they will have GST. So on the inputs, we're not talking about, we're talking about output services. Only one input services where they receive some services from outside India. When they receive some services from outside India, on that there will be no GST, provided it's for religious and charitable purposes. Guys, this is the first one. Let's look at the module also on this one. Let's look at the module as well. As the module start with exemption, this is the module we're covering the entire module as well. What is exempt supply? We already know through notifications, etc. Section 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3 they discussed here, which we already know. What is exempt supply? They've spoken about that. How did they come up with a notification? Not very important. They've spoken about that. And straight away, guys, goods they've spoken about, then they've spoken about services. The first one is religious and charitable activities. Description of services, guys. Anyone which is registered under 12A and now 12AB also is exempt, guys. What kind of services? First, HEER services. They're talking about religious ceremony, any pandit, etc., providing religious ceremony, renting of rooms, renting of premises, renting of shops, 10,000 or more is a problem. Below that is not a problem. And for hotel, 1,000 or more is a problem. Below that it is exempt. Guys, religious pilgrimage like Hajj etc. is exempt, and arts and culture by everyone, and sports etc. only by those entities which are registered will be exempt. This is an analysis or an elaboration here. Guys, here HEER, public health, religion, that is R, E is education, and E is environment. These are exempt. If you know, guys, yoga provided with food and with is composite, so even that food is exempt. Let's do a sum. Sarseva Trust, a charitable trust, registered, etc., organizes a skill development program for the old age people over 65 years. Guys, this is exempt. This skill development, etc., is not taxable. This is exempt. Hostel accommodation up to 1,000 is exempt. That you know. Religious yatra by Hajj committee and Kumao Vikas Mandal, that is exempt. Arranging yoga and meditation camps is exempt. Even hosting them, even giving them rooms on rent, all that is also exempt because they're all composite. Guys, again, they've spoken about a foundation and they've spoken about a yoga meditation camp, that is exempt. Hospitals, guys, health, public health, that is exempt. Training or coaching. Training and coaching in sports is only applicable to those which are registered under 12A, and arts and cultures to everyone, but they should only be recreational, they should not be professional. Recreation basically means only for hobby, it should not be professional sports training. All right. And GST on services provided, guys, when GST is on services provided by charitable trust other than these, let's say charitable trust puts a huge banner of Patanjali honey, then that case it will be taxable. So only these are exempt for them. Ramanand Joshi, a priest, charges 12,000 for conducting a religious ceremony. Conducting religious ceremony, guys, is exempt. So this one is no problem. Guys, again, renting of prisons, we've already done that. Rent, hall, room, and shops, etc. is exempt. Above those limits is a problem. 1,000, 10,000. Perfect. Durga Devi Trust owns and manages a temple in the locality. It rents commercial shops for a rent of 10,000 per month per shop. Guys, it is 10,000 and hence it will be taxable. Only if it was less than 10,000, then there's an exemption. Manages a Gurudwara. The next one is a Gurudwara, guys. It rents community hall for 9,000, no problem. And as long as it's less than 10,000, that's not a problem, guys. That's the end of it. The first one is done, which is charitable and religious associations. Please remember, 1,000, 10,000, 10,000. Anything below that is not a problem. Above that is a problem. Let's go to the next one, guys. The next one we go to is very, very important and very interesting, called agriculture services. I'm putting it here, agriculture services. Guys, when you cultivate your land, of course, agriculture service, guys, please keep in mind, if agriculture is subject to GST, things will become very expensive, and hence agriculture services are exempt to a large extent. If you cultivate land, example, you harvest, you sow the seeds, etc., for food grains, fruits, vegetables, completely exempt. If the land is given on rent, if you give someone rent or agricultural purposes some land, that is exempt. If you rent someone farm machinery, agri machines, guys, tractors, etc., then the renting is exempt. Also, if you give someone, supply someone farm labor, that is also exempt. Now that the produces food grains are there, now that the grains are there and fruits and vegetables are there, guys, loading it, unloading it, storing it in a warehousing it, all this is also exempt. So someone loads it, someone unloads it, someone stores it, someone warehouses, that is all exempt. Basically all this is primary operations or secondary operations, but it does not change the nature of the food grain, guys. Food grain still remains food grain. Your wheat is still wheat, it's not made into a flour. The moment it changes the essential character, then it will become taxable. Guys, once it's warehouse, after that someone has to take it to the market. So there is a committee called APMC, Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee. They market your products, that is also exempt. And agriculture extension services, basically giving you scientific ways how to do agriculture, that is also exempt. In those warehouses, fumigation services to keep the warehouse out of any outside of any pest, etc. So there should not be rats, etc. in the warehouse. So fumigation is also exempt. Guys, all this is exempt as long as you don't change the essential characteristic. You have to maintain the character of the produce. But what if you change the character? Example, you have paddy, from paddy you make rice, you change the character. You have sugarcane, from sugarcane you make jaggery, you change the character. You have tea leaves, you have coffee beans, from that you made tea and coffee, you change the essential character because now it's powder. And you have basically food grains, from that you make pulses, which you remove the husk, etc. Basically these are not agricultural produce. Although rice sounds like agricultural produce, it is not. Jaggery is not. Tea, coffee powder is not. Pulses is not. Flour is not, because the essential characteristic is changed. Also guys, just giving you an example, if I make them, if I fill them into gunny bags, I'm not changing the essential characteristic. I'm making it available to the primary market, no problem. But if I make small packets of 500 grams, that is basically making it ready for the retail market. So retail market is taxable guys. Making it ready for the retail market is taxable. Making it ready for the primary market, like putting it in gunny bags, it's not taxable. But guys, as an exception for these, although producing rice, jaggery, tea, pulses, etc. is taxable, that's not exempt. But storing them, warehousing them, fumigating them, loading, unloading, those services on these items is not taxable, that is exempt. I'll repeat, guys. From cultivating your land, someone renting you the land, someone renting you the machinery, someone giving you labor, cultivating it, primary operations, secondary operations, all everything is okay as long as you're not changing the essential characteristic of that food grain. Wheat is wheat. Even if you put them in gunny bags, that's no problem. But making them into small packets for retail, that is taxable. If you change the essential characteristic, paddy into rice, sugarcane into jaggery, tea coffee leaves or tea coffee beans into tea coffee powder, or removing the husk of pulses, that all is subject to GST. Marketing it is no problem. Agriculture extension services, no problem. Fumigation is no problem. And guys, this is what is agricultural produce. Guys, we'll do some sums also on agriculture, but essentially this is not subject to GST. Remember guys, only till the primary market. Retail market, it will be subject to GST. Also, if APMC produces some other services besides marketing a produce, they give you other services, that will also be subject to GST. Let's see what the module talks about agriculture services. Guys, services of loading, unloading, packing, storing, warehousing of rice is exempt. They have specifically spoken about rice because rice otherwise is not exempt. Minor forest produce is also exempt. I forgot to mention, guys, while agricultural services, rearing of all animals like cattle, bullocks, etc. is exempt except horses. Artificial insemination, basically making them pregnant artificially, is also exempt except horses. Horses is not covered here. Guys, cereals, pulses, fruits, nuts, vegetables, everything storing, unloading, loading, everything is exempt. Fumigation is exempt. Cultivation is exempt. Production, harvesting, all that is exempt. Supply of farm labor is exempt. Giving out a rent of farm is exempt. Renting of agri machinery is exempt. Loading, unloading, packing is all exempt. Agriculture extension services, scientific waste is exempt. Agriculture produce marketing committee, that is exempt, provided it's only related to your primary market. Artificial insemination of livestock other than horses is exempt. Perfect. Guys, let's try and do some sums on this. Process which alters the essential characteristics, guys, like potato chips or tomato ketchup. Now you're changing tomato to ketchup, that is not exempt, guys, that will be taxable. And process which makes the agriculture produce marketable in the retail market is taxable, guys. Retail market is taxable. Mulchand has leased out to a farmer, Tulsidas, a vacant land for agriculture. This is exempt because they're renting out of farmland. Agriculture extension services, APMC, is exempt. Warehousing of agricultural produce and others also exempt, like rice, pulses, etc. also exempt. Jaggery, pulses, this is also exempt. Warehousing of it, processed tea and coffee, warehousing is exempt. Growing is not exempt, but warehousing is exempt. Selling is not exempt, warehousing is exempt. Paddy into rice, this is not exempt, but storing rice, loading, unloading rice, that is perfectly okay. Dukhya Das is engaged in providing the following services: packaging of onions from village farmers into small packets of 1 kg so that can be sold in the nearby city mall, guys, retail market. This will be taxable. Warehousing of jaggery and tea, warehousing as specifically exempted, this will be exempted. Renting of warehouse for storage of agricultural produce, this will be exempt because they're basically renting for agricultural purposes. Next, guys, is education. Let's go and check education. Please keep in mind, the more things are exempt, the more cheaper they will be. So agricultural services, that is the background for agriculture services. The next one, guys, is education services. All eyes attention on education services. Like agriculture, guys, education also is important for the country. Padega India, tabhi to padega India, and hence education has to be exempt. Let's see how it is exempt. First, what is an educational institution? Guys, educational institution basically is preschool, before you start school, your school, higher secondary till higher secondary school, your colleges, etc., which are recognized by the government, no private colleges, your colleges, etc., which provide service like a BCom degree, etc., which is recognized by the government, that is exempt. Also, your industrial training institutions, also your skill development corporations, also any vocational education courses, all these are educational institutions, guys. That means if the government recognizes it, then it is exempt. Your private coaching classes where you've gone for a CA coaching, that is not exempt. Your foreign courses, etc., are not exempt because the government feels these are basic, only these should be exempt. Guys, when they provide services to their students, to their faculty, and to their staff. So let's say a primary school provides students to any services to students, that is exempt. Any services to faculties, that is exempt. Any services to staff Faculties and staff, faculty, teachers, staff are who are working for them, that is exempt. Only to students, faculty and staff, not to any third party. But when they provide entrance exams, guys, entrance exams can be provided even to other than students, because while you provide entrance, let's say IIT provides entrance exams. Now, guys, IIT, when they provide entrance exams, they don't know whether the person is going to be a student or not. So entrance exams to everyone, guys, is exempt. And this is only exempt if it's provided to students, faculty, and staff. All right. So, guys, besides this, some point, ITIs, industrial training institutions, are exempt. Any educational institution which they give you, which is recognized by the government, like maritime institutions, those are exempt. So these are exempt. Maritime institutions are exempt. Any skill development corporations, those are exempt. Even IIMs, guys, are exempt, but with a condition: only their long duration courses, that is 1 year or more, that is exempt. Short duration courses are taxable. Guys, besides that, now let's look at what is taxable. Private coaching is taxable. Foreign education is taxable. Next, when they provide you employment, let's say your college has a tie-up with TCS and they'll give you employment at TCS, that charge, when they charge you, is taxable. So guys, anything extracurriculars, so let's say your college which is providing you BCom degree is also providing you some personality development course, etc., all that is taxable. All the extras are taxable. So all the basic things are exempt, all the extra things are taxable. Please remember, ITI, skill development, vocational education, all those are also exempt because the government doesn't want them to be expensive. Now, guys, when they put an AC, is it exempt? No, no, no. These ACs, etc., are not exempt. So their inputs are not exempt except these two inputs. With respect to conducting exams, guys, with respect to conducting exams, all inputs are exempt. So example, someone sets the paper, someone checks the paper, someone gives you rent of those classroom where the entrance exam happens. With respect to having exams, everything is exempt. All the inputs are exempt. And with respect to other than exams, guys, only TCS is exempt. That means transportation. So when a bus company provides you transportation services, that is exempt. When a catering guy provides you food canteen, that is exempt. And when they provide you security as well as servicing, basically keeping your room clean, etc., that is exempt. So transportation, catering, and security, that means basically also keeping your room, etc., clean, housekeeping, that is exempt. But guys, this is exempt only till higher secondary. TCS is exempt only till higher secondary. So I'm putting TCS star. What is it? Only for higher secondary. So again, input services, we can differentiate. Exam for everyone is exempt. All kind of inputs related to exams are exempt. TCS only till higher secondary is exempt. So if the bus conductor, if a bus company charges you for transporting your students from your school to their homes and back, then they will charge you money, but they will not charge you TCS, transport, catering, and security as well as cleaning. Now, guys, in COVID, we all have seen that a lot of things have gone online. So anyone who gives you online journal preparation, example, textbooks, etc., and made online, if someone is providing you that, then that is also exempt, but that is only above higher secondary, guys. This is above higher secondary, and this is still secondary. So you have to differentiate inputs 1, 2, and 3. One is TCS, only up to higher secondary to exempt. So preschool, yes, higher secondary, okay. Exam inputs, everyone is exempt, and online journals only above secondary. Above higher secondary, it is exempt. So this is the inputs which are exempt. Those are the outputs which are exempt. Again, reiterating, exam, entrance exams, guys, to anyone is exempt. Otherwise, students, faculty, and staff. Foreign courses are always taxable. This is education. Let's look at it from the module itself. Guys, education institutions to students, faculty, and staff. Conduct of entrance exams to everyone. Guys, this is input, catering, transportation of students, security and housekeeping, etc. Conducting examinations to everyone, and online journals only to above secondary. All this is confusing here in my example. If you see my video, if you see my explanation, it's better there. Perfect. Guys, output services, preschool education, higher school education, all these are education institutions. I've already discussed those. Private coaching centers, there is no exemption. Obtaining foreign law, there is no exemption. Otherwise, it's exempt. Dharam Institute of Technology, a private engineering college in MP, offers postgraduate programs as private education, and hence it will be taxable. Next, guys, Little Ways Public School is a school located in Tamil Nadu. The school has two branches. One is preschool, which is exempt. Another is higher secondary school, exempt. A preschool and higher secondary school are education institutions, hence exempt. ITIs are exempt. Modular employable skill courses, guys, as long as they are approved by the government, they are all exempt. Kaladrishti ITI Gorakhpur is engaged in providing skill development courses. They are ITI recognized, guys, and hence it will be exempt. Perfect. Unless they are not recognized, guys. The moment it's recognized like government ITS or any private also, but they're recognized by the government, then it's exempt. Unrecognized education institutions, guys, are always and always taxable. Super Minds, a coaching institute in Raipur, provides coaching for Institute of Banking. Guys, coaching, private coaching is always and always taxable. Guys, if there is boarding school, then is there tax? Guys, no tax, because boarding is composite supply. The main principal supply is of education, and hence this is composite, and hence it is also exempt. All right. Next, guys, IIMs. IIMs, short duration courses are taxable. Long duration, that is 1 year or more, are exempt. Supply of food in a mess, guys, to students, that is again composite supply, so that is not taxable. Fees charged from prospective employers is taxable. Maritime courses not taxable. You know it, guys. Input services are categorized in 3 parts: TCS up to higher secondary, online journals above higher secondary, and examinations to everyone is exempt. Little Millennium, a preschool in the outskirts of Mumbai, has subscribed to online journals, guys. Online journals for preschool, it will be taxable. SM Transporters provide transportation services to higher secondary school, exempt. Shiksha College offers degree courses, has to conduct its half yearly examination. Guys, examination when you charge also, that is exempt. When you add inputs also, that is also exempt. Gyani Public School or higher secondary school has hired Suvidha services for security. Guys, higher secondary TCS is exempt. But if it's above that, then it will become taxable. Perfect, guys. That's the end of education. Let's go to the next one, that is healthcare services. Guys, one by one, we're getting better and better. And you'll see in the sums how beautifully you'll be able to do all these sums, guys. The next one is healthcare. Absolutely important, healthcare services. As you all know, during COVID, guys, healthcare is very expensive and healthcare should be outside the ambit of GST. So here it is, guys. In healthcare, guys, any cap, that is clinical establishment C, authorized medical practitioner A, and a paramedic. I'll repeat: clinical establishment like hospital, clinics, etc. Authorized medical practitioner like doctors, etc., who are authorized, and paramedics who are basically helping the medics, that is nurses, etc., when they provide services, healthcare services in the nature of HUNASE. This is a shortcut, guys. HUNASE. CAP is a shortcut. HUNASE is a shortcut. Then that is exempt. HUNASE means homeopathy, Unani, naturopathy, Ayurveda, Siddha, allopathy, and yoga. I'll repeat: homeopathy, Unani, naturopathy, Ayurveda, Siddha, allopathy, and yoga. In these forms only it is exempt. Next, guys, not just this, any ambulance to take you to the clinical establishment, etc., is exempt. So ambulance service is not chargeable. Also, vet giving services to your animal, just like you have to be happy, even they have to be happy. So no charge for that. And even rehab professionals, when they give rehab or on drugs, etc., even that is not subject to GST. Perfect. And when stem cell therapy is provided by cord blood bank, stem cell therapy is basically a therapy which basically treats diseases through a stem cells, that is provided by cord blood banks, that is also exempt. That is just a general encouragement so that people do this therapy, and hence these are exempt, guys. Guys, in a hospital, when you get admitted, you get food and you have to have admitted in a room that is composite with the medical facilities, and that is exempt. But guys, what is taxable? A shop given on rent in a hospital, that is taxable. Any cosmetic surgery, any plastic surgery to make you look good, or hair transplant if you're losing hair, all that is, guys, only to look good, and hence that is taxable. Unless, guys, there's cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery is needed because of a deformity, then it will be exempt. Unless it's because of a problem, that is exempt. Otherwise, guys, only to look good, then it's cosmetic, and hence we will be taxing it. Also, guys, inputs for a hospital, when a hospital installs an AC, unfortunately they'll have to pay GST. But on two inputs there is no GST. One is when doctors provide hospital services. Example: there's a surgeon who comes and who gives hospital services on as a consultant and charges the hospital, there will be no GST. And hospital produce a lot of biomedical waste. Any treatment of that biomedical waste, that service is provided, they will charge money, but they will not charge GST. Guys, this is healthcare services. Healthcare services basically is CAP, clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioners, and paramedic. Let's see it from the module as well. Healthcare services, guys. First, they started with vet, that is exempt. By clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner and paramedic, CAP is exempt. Ambulance is exempt. Cord blood banks provided preservation of stem cell, that therapy is also exempt. Guys, healthcare services means not just treating you but also testing you. All those diagnostic centers are also exempt. Transportation of patient, ambulance is exempt. Hair transplant, cosmetic, plastic surgery is not exempt unless it's required by a process. Hunase, guys, you'll never have to remember this because you'll have to remember Hunase and only those Hunase. Black magic is not exempt. Clinical establishment, what is authorized medical practitioner, what is a paramedic is given here. Rent of rooms, guys, room basically is provided along with the service, and hence rent of rooms, food, etc. is not chargeable. But food which is provided to other than patients who are outpatients or who are relatives, etc., then it will be chargeable. Doctors, etc., are inputs, that is not taxable. Next, food supplied to patients who are admitted, not taxable. Outside patients are always taxable. Perfect. Guys, Good Health Medical Center provides the following services. Reiki, guys, Reiki will be taxable. It will be taxable. Plastic surgery, once a surgery was conducted to repair a left lip, that will be exempt. Others will be taxable. Air ambulance exempt. Palliative care basically means extreme care at home, that is exempt. Alternative medical treatments by way of yoga, guys, yoga is a part of Honase, so that is also exempt. Cord blood bank is exempt. Guys, otherwise the inputs are not exempt except biomedical waste and doctors. Perfect. Guys, that is it. We are already moving to the next one, that is services provided by the government. Guys, the government, when they provide services, they generally should not tax you, because they'll tax you, they'll collect the money and they'll keep it to themselves. So hence, what is the point of making these things expensive? So hence, when the government provides services, they are generally exempt. Let's see what kind of services the government provides. When the government provide any services, first, guys, when the government provide any services except PRAT, except PRAT, this is an exception, except PRAT, then those are exempt. So if the government provides any small services, like when you go for your passport, when you go for a driving license renewal, etc., those services are exempt except PRAT. Guys, then services except PRAT up to 5,000 are exempt. Up to 5,000 services are exempt, again except PRAT. Guys, PRAT is always taxable, so I'm just writing taxed here and I'm writing PRAT, because PRAT, we'll see what PRAT means, but PRAT is always and always taxable. Besides that, when the government provides services through panchayats and municipalities, guys, municipalities and panchayats have a role under the constitution, under article 243, municipalities W, and 243G. G is for Gaon is for panchayats, and municipalities 243W. Under that, let's say street lighting, etc., are their services that will be exempt. So government services are generally exempt, guys. But which are taxable? PRAT is always taxable. What is PRAT? Postal services, when they provide postal, not the basic postal services, the speed post, etc., that is subject to GST. Any renting of immovable property, that is subject to GST always. Postal always, renting always, aircraft, ships, etc., always, and transport of passengers always, guys. So PRAT, they want GST on that, so PRAT is always taxable. Otherwise, guys, if they provide services to business entities, business entity means someone who's liable to be registered under GST, someone who's crossed the threshold, which we will see in a chapter called registration. So if you cross that threshold, let's say you're Reliance, you're Amazon, you're a big entity, and the government provides you services above 5,000 rupees, then that will be subject to GST. So government services are generally not taxable except PRAT. Services up to 5,000 not taxable except PRAT. PRAT is one shortcut that you have to remember. Municipality and Panchayat, 234W and 234G is for Panchayats. Those are not taxable. G is for Gaon. All right. Any services in relation to municipality or panchayats, 234, 243W and 243G are exempt. Guys, PRAT post, renting, passenger transport, and aircraft, etc., PRAT is always taxable. Provided to a business entity is taxable. Other than business entity is not taxable. Guys, look at my understanding, that's better to understand. This is slightly confusing. Perfect. Up to 5,000 is not taxable. So up to 5,000 not taxable. To other than business entities not taxable. So what is taxable? PRAT is taxable, and business entities above 5,000 is taxable. Again, guys, even the government can run an old age home. We had seen this in religious and charitable activities. Even a government can run an old age home. Even that is not taxable as long as the amount they collect is less than 25,000 per month. So up to 25,000, up to 25,000 is no problem. Above that will be taxable. All right. When the government provides each other services, of course, why will they tax it? So government providing each other is not taxable. As issuance of passport, driving license, birth certificate, death certificate is not taxable. So these services are not taxable. Also, if the government asks for a penalty, let's say you were supposed to repair the roads for the government and there was a delay or wrong thing that you did and you have to pay the penalty to the government, basically that is not taxable. Perfect. Let's look at some sums from here, guys. A small business entity is carrying on a business. Small basically means not liable to be registered. Then there's no tax. It will be exempt. Except PRAT, guys. Except PRAT. Let's look at some more sums if there are. The Karnataka Cricket Association requires the Commissioner of Police to provide extra security. So the government is providing security services, guys. If it's up to 5,000, no problem, but security generally will be more than 5,000, so that will be taxable. Guys, that is taxable because it's given to Karnataka Cricket Association, which is a large entity, which is not a small entity. Public Work Department of Karnataka entered into an agreement with a company for construction of its office complex. In the agreement, 10th July was agreed by the both parties should be the completion date and hand over the project by 31st December. Guys, any penalty charge here, damages or penalty, will not be subject to GST. Perfect. Guys, straight construction services, but before that, let me just revise. Government services except PRAT and up to 5,000 not taxable. PRAT are always taxable and 5,000 above to business entities are always and always taxable. Next, guys, is construction services. Very, very simple construction services. Guys, India's target is basically everyone should have a house. So construction services is a very important thing. And hence, guys, pure labor contracts. Pure labor basically means not cement, not bricks, only labor. Supplying of labor for Prime Minister's Awas Yojana. What is Awas Yojana? Basically, house for all. That's the Prime Minister's Awas Yojana. So pure labor contracts for that is no GST. It is exempt. Also, guys, pure labor contracts for independent house. What is independent residential house? Not a part of a complex or a building, guys. Independent house, that is exempt. Also exempt is when you basically take electricity poles to a farm, a big farm. They don't get water because there's no electricity. So if you take electricity pole and you construct that, that construction is also exempt. And last, guys, very important, if you have any transferable development rights or a free space index, basically the right to construct on the land, if you have that, or you have a land which is given on lease, long-term lease, that is more than 30 years or more, then in that case, guys, this is how it works. We've seen it in RCM in charge of tax recently. There's a construction company. Basically, this is you. You are providing TDR, FSI, or long-term lease to a construction company. So actually, they will pay you money, but you don't have to pay GST. Under RCM, they have to pay GST to the government. So basically, under TDR, FSI, and lease, the construction company has to pay GST to the government. But I told you this will come again in exemption because, guys, this is exempted provided this is sold. All the houses are sold before CC. That is before the completion certificate. So on that land, when he develops a building, on that building, all the flats should have been sold before construction certificate is obtained. Guys, if he delays selling it, that means if it's not sold till construction services, then there will be GST, but very low GST. 1% in case of affordable houses and 5% in case of other houses. So let's say you were an owner of a very big land, you gave it to a builder, and the builder said that I want to take it on lease for 99 years, and he paid you 30 crore rupees on that. On that GST he has to pay, but he will not have to pay if he sold all the houses on that before the construction completion certificate. But on the pending houses which he didn't sell, he'll have to pay GST at the rate of 1% or 5%. 1% for affordable houses and 5% for others. This is construction. Let's see it from the book as well. Perfect. Pure labor contracts, guys, for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Then again, pure labor contracts for single residential unit, not part of a residential complex. Electricity distribution utilities for construction of infrastructure for extending electricity to farms, tube wells, etc. And supply of TDR, etc., which anyways you are not supposed to pay tax to the RCM, but even the builder will not have to pay as long as the flats are sold before before issuance is not exempt. But before issuance is exempt. After issuance, he'll have to pay 1% in case of affordable houses and 5% in case of other than affordable houses. Perfect. This is the Awas Yojana. This is what they're talking about, original work, that is construction, reconstruction, etc. And this they're talking about residential complex, which is very simple to understand. Independent house only is exempt, pure labor contracts on that. Next, guys, is going to passenger transport services. Great shortcuts waiting for you there as well. Let's talk about passenger transport services. Guys, passenger transport services basically means how you and me travel. And if we don't travel cheap, how will the country move ahead? So hence we have to travel cheap. So the government says if you're traveling by air, if you can afford air, you will be affording GST also. So air travel is taxable, except, guys, if you're going to or you're coming from a northeastern state. So all the northeastern states, if you go there or you come back on a flight, that is exempt. That's an exception, including Bagdogra, which is in West Bengal. Guys, West Bengal is not northeastern state, but Bagdogra airport is still considered to be exempt. So if you're coming from there or going from there in the exam, that will be exempt. Also, regional connectivity scheme. They created small airports at Tirupati, at Shirdi, etc. to connect the entire country. For 3 years since the approval of the regional connectivity scheme airports, those will be exempt. Otherwise, guys, air travel, if you can afford air travel, you can afford to pay GST. Guys, rail travel will be taxable if there is AC in the rail, then will be taxable in your coach. And if it is first class, then it will be taxable. Otherwise, railway will not be taxable. Guys, metro, monorail, tram, etc. The government wants people to use those, and hence it will be always and always exempt. Rail will be exempt only if it's AC. Sorry, rail will be exempt, but if it's AC rail, then it will be taxable. Or if it is first class, then it will be taxable. Next, guys, when you take inland waterways, the government likes that you take inland waterways because waterways have to be encouraged in India. So waterways is exempt. Waterways is generally exempt. Exceptions are there that if it's for tourism purposes. So will they check with every passenger? Are they going on tourism? No. If primarily it's in the exam is given for tourism purpose, example, people are going from Chennai to Port Blair, Andaman Nicobar Islands for tourism purposes mainly, then it will be taxable. So that time it will become taxable. Next, guys, when you go in buses, etc., are called stage carriages. Stage carriages, there is one C, that means only one condition. If it is AC, then only it will become taxable. And then there is something called contract carriages. Basically means that carriage is only for you. Example, when you go outside for a family holiday, don't you book a cab only for your family? Don't you book a tourist vehicle only for your family? That's a contract carriages, a van, a Innova, etc. Those contract carriages have two conditions. Two C's means two conditions. One is if it's AC, then it will become taxable. Or if it's tourism purposes, then also it will become taxable. So if you go on office purpose, but if it's AC, then also it will become taxable. But if it's tourism, even if it's non-AC, so any of these conditions, it will become taxable. So stage carriage, contract carriage, inland waterways, metro, monorail, rail, air. Guys, very popular are metered taxis and cabs, where you flag it off, where you show your hand and they stop. The metered cabs, etc., are exempt. But the moment you remove your phone and you book an Ola, Uber, radio taxi, radio cab, etc., those will become taxable. So this is how it is. Passenger transport. Let's see it from the book as well. All right. As the book talks about the northeastern states, those are exempt. Bagdogra as West Bengal is also exempt for air. Otherwise, air is taxable. For contract carriages, two conditions: air condition also, and tourism also two conditions. For stage carriage, only one condition, that is air condition. Very confusing here, guys. My explanation is much better. I can approve of that. Guys, also regional connectivity scheme for 3 years, it is not taxable in air. In case of rail, guys, in case of railways, first class is taxable, air condition is taxable, otherwise there is no tax. Metro, mono, tram, always exempt. Inland waterways, always exempt, unless, guys, it's predominantly for tourism purposes, then it will become taxable. Metered cabs, no problem. The moment you remove your phone and book it, then it will be taxable. Passengers are going, guys, not predominantly for tourism purposes. From Kolkata to Port Blair, this will be exempt because not tourism purposes. Guys, any cruise going from Bombay to Singapore, of course, it will be taxable. So this is only for inland waterways, which is exempt. Metered cabs, exempt. Radio taxi, of course, taxable. Stage carriage, one condition. Straight transport undertakings basically means transport undertakings. We'll see more of that. E-rickshaws are exempt. Then it's goods transportation. Perfect. We'll see sums also on this, guys. Don't worry. So passenger transport, the moment it becomes AC, the moment it becomes tourism, the moment it becomes expensive, the government taxes it. Otherwise, guys, the government doesn't tax it. Anything they want to encourage like tram, monorail, metro rail, that is exempt from GST. Next, guys, goods transportation. Just like you have to move, even goods have to move from one place to the other. So goods transportation services, how is that tackled? Let's see, guys. How do you send your goods? Generally, the goods are sent by rail. If they are sent by rail, then they are exempt only if, guys, exempt only if they are following category of goods. Rail Dr. Nam, that's a shortcut, guys. Rail Dr. Nam. So if there are these goods in the railway, then it will be exempt. What is rail? Railway material. What is D? Defense material. What is R? Relief material. There's an earthquake or there's a flood, etc. and you're selling relief material. N is newspapers and magazines, the registered ones. A, guys, is agricultural produce. M is manure. And this is milk, flour, pulses, those kind of goods. Those are exempt. Railway equipment, defense, relief, newspapers, agricultural produce, organic manure, not chemical, organic manure. And this M is milk. including guys any flour, any pulses, any cereals, those will also be exempt. So if you're going by rail, only these goods have to be exempt. That's what you'll have to check. Next guys, if you're sending it by waterways, again inland waterways, the government wants to encourage, so they're completely exempt, no conditions, completely exempt. Next, if you're sending it by air, of course it will be taxable. If you can afford to send by courier, express, cargo, etc., will be taxable. So I'm just writing what is taxable here. Guys, taxable is courier services, taxable. Express cargo, when it's going very fast, that is taxable. Angadia basically are those people who will transport your goods from one place to the other. Angadia is also fast, so that is also be taxable. And last is road. Guys, road, it is two kinds. Exempt when it's small players, like a small tempo, you want to send some goods from one place to the other in a small tempo, then that is exempt. But it is taxable in case of goods transport agency. We will discuss goods transport in a block here guys, but goods transport agency, basically we'll talk about GTA separately. So railway we've seen, inland water we've seen, air we've seen, small and GTA road transport. Let's talk about goods transport agency. What is a good transport agency and how does it differ from a small transporter? Goods transport agency is basically by road, even a small transporter is road, but they issue something called a consignment note that now the goods I have it, don't worry about it, I will transport it. So what is goods transport agency? Someone who travels by road, takes your goods by road, and someone who issues a consignment note. In that case, guys, if they provide services to the government, if they're transporting goods to the government, that will be exempt, because why do they charge to government? If they give it to small people, like you are basically moving from Mumbai to Delhi or from Bangalore to Delhi for studies, if they give it to unregistered small people, then that will be exempt. If they are giving services which are LL Dr. Nam, what is Dr. Nam? You know, guys, defense, relief, newspapers, agriculture, organic manure, milk, pulses, cereals, flour, those are exempt. LL basically means low value. Per carriage guys, the value does not increase more than 1500. So when you transport the goods, not the value of the goods, but what you charge for transportation does not exceed 1500 per carriage, or to per person 750. We'll see a sum on that guys, that will be exempt. So low value, per carriage 1500 you charge, lower than that no problem, or for per individual you charge up to 750, that is low value, low is no problem. So these are all exempt. So then what is taxable guys? Everything else except these are taxable. So if GTA provides services to government, exempt, to small people exempt, to LL Dr. Nam is exempt, everything other than that is exempt. That means if they provide it to, let's say Amazon uses a transport company to transport its goods, then it will be taxable because it's not government, it's not small, it's not LL Dr. Nam. Let's see goods transportation from the book. Services of transportation of goods by road. Goods transport agency is an exemption. Courier agency is taxable. Goods transport is exempt also, taxable also, we'll see ahead. Inland waterways is always and always exempt. Guys, by rail, Dr. Nam, relief Dr. Nam, which we'll see ahead, is given in a very confusing manner here. We'll see ahead in the summary part. Transportation of goods by road. Guys, goods transport agency is basically someone who transports your goods and also issues a consignment note. Here it is. They transport your goods by road and also issue a consignment note. Then in that case, guys, it's a GTA. So this is what is becoming a GTA. What is a consignment note, etc. You don't have to know. Guys, Hari Prasad owns a truck and operates himself in small player. He carries the goods booked for his truck without issuing a consignment note. That means small player, not a GTA. That means exempt. Small players are exempt. The moment you're a big player, then it will become taxable like a GTA. Courier agency, guys, is always taxable. Express cargo is always taxable. Angadia service is always taxable. Guys, rail, vessel, GTA. Dr. Nam, rail Dr. Nam, railway equipment. LL, if you remember, per consignment, the consideration is not exceeding 1500, or per person not exceeding 750, then it is exempt. Then guys, NAM, newspapers, agricultural material, agricultural produce, milk, salt, food grains, flour, pulses, rice. Guys, you have to remember this somehow. Milk, salt, and food grain is exempt. And in food grain, even if you change the process, like rice has become or wheat has become flour, or you've dehusked the pulses, or you paid paddy into rice, even that is exempt. Doctor is defense and relief material, those are also exempt. Remember LL Dr. Nam. And for railway, you remember rail Dr. Nam. Let's see the illustration, guys. Discuss with us GST is payable in respect of transportation services provided by Raghav Goods, a GTA. Guys, remember GTA? Transportation of milk, LL Dr. Nam, yes, milk, so this will be exempt. Transportation of books on a consignment transport in a single carriage. Single carriage up to 1500 is no problem, guys. This is 3000, so entire thing will be taxable. Transportation of chairs for a single consignee for one person up to 750 is no problem. This is 600, so this will be exempt. This is how easy it gets when you see the sums, guys. All practical sums, no theoretical sums in exemption chapter. Next, guys, is banking and financial services. Guys, banking and financial services is absolutely important because a country cannot grow until its banking and financial services is strong and affordable. So let's see what these banking and financial services talk about. What are the exemptions? We are getting closer and closer to the end of exemptions. Shortcuts ahead also waiting for you. The biggest bank, the banker of all banks, the RBI, when the RBI provides services, output services, there is no GST. But input services, GST will be there. When they buy an AC for their office, there will be GST. But on the output services, it is exempt. When guys, banks, financial institutions, etc., they deal with each other. They deal with each other to basically convert currency. Then it is also exempt. And guys, the main role of banks and financial institutions is to give loans. And when they give loans, they get interest. On that interest also there is exemption. So interest, whether you call it interest, whether you call it bill discounting charges, whether you call it finance charges, whatever the name you give to that interest is always exempt. Except, so what is taxable? Interest on credit card, guys. Interest on credit card is taxable. Any processing fee, if you don't maintain your minimum balance, that fees, those will be taxable by banks, financial institutions. But guys, there is some account called very basic account, basic services and bank deposit account, BSBDA account. Basically, they had in the Jan Dhan Yojana, they had started this account, very basic accounts, guys, basic savings and bank deposit accounts. Those are exempt. Again, guys, there is a concept of business correspondent and bank facilitator. These are basically people who help banks reach the rural areas when they provide services in the nature of rural accounts. To banks, financial institutions, even to insurance companies, those are exempt. And otherwise, guys, it is taxable. So credit card, remember, is taxable. Processing fee, non-maintenance of minimum balance, those fees are exempt. Those fees are taxable, my bad. Otherwise, guys, I'm just revising. RBI is exempt. When banks interact with each other, they're exempt. BSBD is exempt. Banking facilitator, bank deposit is exempt. When you swipe your card up to a 2000 rupee transaction, when you swipe your card up to a 2000 rupee transaction on the debit card or a credit card, that is also exempt. Let's see more from the book itself. Bank and financial institutions, guys, Reserve Bank of India, they're providing services exempt. Extending deposits, loans, and getting interest, guys, or discount, whatever you call it, even finance charges you call it, that is exempt. When they deal with each other for foreign exchange conversion, that is exempt. But when you go buy foreign exchange, guys, that on that transaction fee that is charged. Basic BSBDA account, guys, that is exempt. Up to 2000 rupees single transaction, that is exempt. Guys, one thing that we didn't discuss, guys, in the International Financial Service Center, basically IFSCs, they are specialized centers created in India, like Surat, like Mumbai, some parts are IFSCs. Now, these are basically to cater to foreigners. When you provide financial services to foreigners there, to non-residents there outside India, customers located outside India, there is no GST, that is exempt. Perfect, guys. Let's do some sums also on this. Service charges, documentation charges, broking charges, all of them will be subject to GST. Only interest is outside the purview. Invoice discounting again is, guys, like interest, so that is also outside GST. No GST. But credit card, guys, any late payment charge, any interest, any charges on credit card, the government doesn't want to encourage credit cards, and hence that is taxable. Perfect, guys. When you buy a phone, sometimes a phone are on EMI, and Samsung only will provide you this EMI, then that will be added to the value of supply that you've seen in a chapter called value of supply. But if it's given by a bank, then it becomes pure interest. On that there will be no GST. Perfect. Next, guys, let's do some sums on this if there are. Yes. Apna Bank is a scheduled commercial bank, has furnished the following details. Extended housing loan to its customers, guys, interest on that is exempt. Even the extending loan is exempt, even interest is exempt. Processing fees, taxable. Commission, taxable. Interest income on credit card is taxable. Otherwise, it would have been exempt. Interest on housing loan, guys, this one is exempt. This one is exempt. Minimum balance charge, guys, this is taxable. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is taxable. 40 plus 30, 70 plus 20, 90, 91 is taxable. Let's see the answer, guys, here. 91 is taxable. See how easy it is. And this is banking and financial services. Let's go on to the next one. Life insurance. Guys, life insurance is a privilege. If you can insure your life and you can pay the premium, that's a privilege, and hence it is not generally exempt unless, guys, it's one of the government schemes. So life insurance services is generally not exempt it is generally taxable. So if you go to HDFC Life and take an insurance policy, on that there will be GST, but it is exempt, guys, when it is one of the government schemes. Example, for the armed forces, for Navy, for the Air Force, etc., that is exempt. For your cattle, for those life insurance schemes are exempt. And also one insurance scheme which is called micro insurance, micro life insurance, where the amount is very small, guys, only 2 lakh rupees. Only 2 lakh rupees is the maximum insurance amount there. That policy is exempt. So micro life insurance is exempt. Government policies are exempt. Everything else is taxable in case of life insurance. Let's have a look, guys. Guys, life insurance provided by pension, provided to Navy, Army, Air Force group. The moment you see these words, you'll know it exempt. Naval group, armed forces, police forces exempt. Janashri, Bima Yojana, all these government schemes is exempt. Pradhan Mantri, all these are exempt. Guys, no, the moment you see Pradhan Mantri in your exam, please see exempt, because they don't want to charge GST on that. And only life micro insurance up to 2 lakh rupees if the sum assured, and that is also subject to exemption. That is the shortcut for life insurance. Services provided by other bodies. Guys, services provided by other bodies, very simple to understand it. PPC, the pension fund, the provident fund, and the coal miners provident fund. When you retire, pension fund, provident fund, and coal miners PPC basically is coal miners provident fund. Those basically is means IRDA and SEBI, and insurance. These are exempt. Let's see these people providing services. Who are these people? First is PPC. PPC is here, guys. Provident fund for everyone. Pension fund, PPC. Coal mines provident fund, PPC, is basically IRDA and SEBI. When they provide services, they will charge you, but there will be no GST. And employee state insurance, guys, these are exempt. So PPC is insured is the shortcut. Remember this, guys. PPC is insured. P is pension provident fund, coal miners provident fund. IRDA is insurance regulatory development body, and SEBI is basically for the stock market. They will charge you some money if they provide you services, but no GST. And state employee state insurance scheme is also exempt. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see which is the next one, guys. General insurance, the most simple, guys. What is general insurance? Not your life, on your health, etc. Again, guys, it's a privilege to be insured, and hence general insurance is also taxable. So if you go to HDFC Ergo and take a health insurance, or for your house if you take a fire insurance, that is taxable. So what is exempt? Only those for the neediest people and for the government schemes. Example, farm cattle. Example, tribal women. Example, self-help women. For those people it will be exempt. Let's have a look, guys. You don't have to by heart the list, but just anyways, guys, anything which is needy: hut insurance, cattle insurance, tribal insurance, Grameen insurance, a pump set insurance, well insurance, coconut palm tree insurance, you'll see ahead, guys. Coconut palm tree insurance, Pradhan Mantri again is exempt. Everything related to Pradhan Mantri government, all these are exempt. And guys, reinsurance, basically when you take insurance from a company, they also take reinsurance from reinsurance companies, though that is also exempt. That is the exemptions. We'll move ahead. Guys, next is business facilitator and business correspondent, BCBF. You already discussed that, guys. BCBF are people which basically go to the remotest parts of the countries to spread banking and financial and insurance policies. So when they provide services, but only and only, guys, only and only for rural accounts, guys, only and only for rural accounts. When they provide services to a bank or to an insurance company, only for rural accounts. This line is important here, guys. When they provide services in rural area branches, only for rural accounts, then it will be exempt, even for insurance, even for banking. But please remember, rural area is absolutely important. Services provided to the government, guys, not from by the government. We saw by the government, guys, is exempt, but even services provided to the government, guys, why will the government want to pay tax? So if you provide services to the government, here this is the government, and they're talking about input services. Some input services are exempt. Example, pure service contracts. When it's only service, no goods. When it's service plus goods and the goods are maximum 25%, that is also exempt. So pure service contracts are exempt. Service plus goods contract up to 25% where the goods component is, that is exempt. Example, let's say they want to change the street lighting and you provide services of the street lighting changes plus the bulbs, guys, is about 25% is goods, then that will be exempt. Any fair price shops, ration shops, fair price shops, when they provide services, or when GST, that is our GST, when that network provides them services, that will be exempt. You have to by heart this, there is no other way, guys. But generally remember that 25% composite, that will be helpful. Services provided to the government, pure service contract exempt. Composite supply is also exempt as long as only 25%. Panchayat, of course, municipality, this we've seen is already exempt. Composite supply, where the goods component is not more than 25% is exempt. Fair price shops is exempt. Insurance, training, GST, and basically fair price and GST is the important one. That is also exempt, because why should the government pay taxes? Let's see some examples. Supply of manpower for cleanliness, guys. Manpower means pure service, so that is pure services and hence exempt. A government authority awards the work or maintenance of street lights to an agency, guys, where the supply, etc., includes some spares also. Guys, this is composite supply, only exempt if the spares, the goods is up to 25%. Next is a very simple one, which is leasing services, guys. All eyes, all attention on the screen, leasing services. Very few left now, and shortcuts also. Guys, let's move ahead to leasing services. Leasing, basically giving on rent, but this is some not normal leasing. This is leasing by the government. So let's say this is a government body or any body in which the government at least has a 20% stake, and they provide leasing services. Leasing basically means long leases of 30 years or more. And what you will pay them, you will pay them a premium either upfront or an installment. You pay them a lease premium. Now that is also exempt, provided it's for industrial use or financial use. In every city like Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, Hyderabad, they have some areas which are basically industrial zones or financial zones. The government leases the land for more than 30 years. That will be exempt. This is leasing services. The government should ensure that it's only used for industrial and financial. You cannot make housing projects there. So industrial and financial use, that will be exempt. Also, when the railway, IRFC, that is Indian Rail Finance Corporation, they provide leasing to railway assets, they provide to railways, that will be also exempt, but that is not very important. That is leasing services on the screen. Description of services, leasing of more than 30 years by entities 20% or more, which is held by the government, guys. In that case, for industrial and financial purposes, you have to check the usage. It cannot be used for anything else. If it's used for anything else, then you'll have to pay GST. Next is one of my favorites, legal services, guys. Let's see that. As you know, lawyers are very, very smart. So lawyers, guys, either an independent lawyer or a senior lawyer or a firm of lawyers, unlike CAs, they are very smart. So when they provide services, most services are exempt. So when they provide services to the government, that is exempt. When they provide services for personal people, for small people like you and me, if unfortunately you have to get into a fight tomorrow or you are going through a divorce tomorrow, the lawyers will not charge you GST because they're exempt. If they provide it to the government, it's exempt. But if they provide it to business entities, basically anyone who's supposed to be registered under GST, then it will become taxable. And as you know, in the RCM, guys, the business entity has to pay the tax. So they're really, really smart there. But guys, if lawyers provide each other services, one lawyer is providing another lawyer services so that they can provide it ahead to the client, then in that case also there is an exemption. Let's check lawyers right away. Guys, legal services, the best way to do this is through the diagram which is here. Guys, legal services or even arbitrary services, partnership firm or a senior advocate providing services to another business entity will be taxable. Guys, otherwise it will not taxable. Government is not taxable. Small entity is not taxable. Pyare Lal and Co has obtained registration under GST, basically means a business entity. It has sought legal consultancy services, which will be chargeable to GST. And Pyare Lal, unfortunately, will have to pay because reverse charge mechanism. Next, guys, is sponsorship of sports events. Guys, in India, you know, sports are not encouraged except cricket, guys. Not too many sports are encouraged. And hence, when a sport event is organized, when a sporting event is organized, and there is sponsorship services, of course, how will they survive unless they take sponsors? That sponsorship services exempt. Guys, only if the person who is organizing the event is an Indian Olympic Association, or a university is organizing a sports program, or a panchayat is organizing a sports program, or a recognized sporting body is organizing a sports contract. So when IPL organizes, it's none of these, guys. So only Indian Olympic Association, when a university, panchayat, or a recognized sporting body, they organize a event and they take money. So let's say they go to Vivo, and you know Vivo sponsors everything, guys. When they go to Vivo and they take money on that, they will not charge GST because this is sponsorship of sports events. So let's see from the module as well. We're covering the entire module, guys. Where else will you cover this entire module if not here? So services provided by sponsorship of a national recognized sports body, university, Indian Olympic Association, panchayat, khel, etc. All these sports by the government will be exempt. Guys, the government has to be exempt. The next one we've already done, so I'm just reading it from the year, guys. Skill development. I told you in education, skill development also is exempt as long as it's a government skill development program. Next is performance by an artist. Let's check performance by an artist. Guys, one of very leading actresses, Hema Malini, she used to perform classical dance and she used to perform as an artist. So let's talk about when these artists perform, what happens. Guys, performance by an artist. First, let's see what is exempt. If it is classical dance or classical art or classical theater, etc., if it's classical, not Western, guys, if it's classical, then it will be exempt if the charges are up to 1.5 lakhs per event. So if Hema Malini does a classical dance concert and she charges not more than 1.5 lakh rupees, which I don't think she will definitely charge more. Then on that she will charge one. Let's say she charges 1.2 lakh, she will charge 1.2, but she will not have GST. But if she charges more than that, then there will be GST. But only on classical dances, guys. So what is taxable? Anything which is above 1.5 lakhs is of course taxable. Anything which is Western, unfortunately, will be taxable. And if you're a brand ambassador, now she's a brand ambassador for, let's say, Colgate, she's a brand ambassador, and Colgate has a party which she performs, then as a brand ambassador, if she's performing, then it will become taxable. Let's see that. Performance by an artist. Classical art forms of music, dance, theater, up to 1.5 lakhs is exempt. Other forms like Western forms, guys, is taxable. As a brand ambassador, it will be taxable. Let's hear some, guys. Bollywood dance performance, always taxable. Carnatic music, 1,30,000 exempt. Carnatic music, 1,55,000 taxable. The entire thing will be taxable. And Kathak, 1,45,000 will be exempt. So as you know, guys, three things: 1.5 lakhs above that will be taxable. Western will be taxable, and brand ambassador will be taxable. The next one, guys, is admitting yourself to an event. Let's check that. Admitting yourself to an event, guys. Basically, that means whenever you go on a Sunday, you're bored and you want to go to some place to entertain yourself, admission tickets or entry tickets, they're talking about that. So when they on a Sunday are asked, where are you going? You say nothing much. On a Sunday you're asked, where are you going? You say nothing much, Tiger Zoo. Nothing much, Tiger Zoo, guys. This will be exempt as long as it's up to 500 rupees. National Museum or a national monument, national museum, national monument, any tiger or any sanctuary, zoo or any sanctuary, this will be exempt as long as it's 500 rupees. Also, guys, the theater company. So any theater, any dance, any circus, they had organized Planet Sports. So any theater, dance, circus, any planetarium or any sporting event organized by a recognized sporting body. Guys, recognized sporting body means all those sports association, etc., which is recognized by India, again up to 500 rupees, that will be exempt. So on a Sunday, what you're doing, nothing much, Tiger Zoo. National Monument, National Museum, Tigers in Zoo, exempt up to 500 rupees. Above that, fully taxable. Theater, dance and circus, planetarium, sports are exempt, again up to 500 rupees. Above that will be entirely taxable. So guys, museum, park, wildlife sanctuary, Tiger Zoo, nothing much, Tiger Zoo, national monument, the dance company, the theater, dance and circus, sporting event, planetarium, Planet Sports. Again, guys, award functions, pageants also, award functions. So those are also exempt up to 500 rupees. So please remember, nothing much, Tiger Zoo, the dance company awarded, Planet Sports. So planetarium, sporting event awarded, those will be exempt up to 500 rupees. Above that will be chargeable to tax. Recognized sporting body wise will be any Indian Olympic Association, Sports Authority of India. All these are recognized sporting body. The exam will tell you if it's a recognized sporting body or not. You don't need to by heart it. Next one is absolutely important, guys. Not profit body or unincorporated body. Most of us stay in cooperative housing societies, which is an unincorporated body or a non-profit body. So guys, unincorporated body or a not-for-profit body. It is divided into three parts. First is trade unions. Guys, have you seen every Mumbai airport has a trade union? Every city has a trade union, and if the trade union collects money, if they collect money for their services, then it is exempt. Trade unions completely exempt. When it's your housing society, most of us stay in housing society, at least I stay in housing society. At the end of the month, they collect some money from us. First of all, if their turnover is more than 20 lakhs, guys, you know, turnover limits, you will see it in registration revision when we do next. If it's more than 20 lakh, then they have to be registered. And once they are registered, guys, once they are registered, then above 7,500 per month, then it will be taxable. And up to 7,500, it will be exempt. So my society bill, if it comes 6,000, it will exempt. But my society bill, if it comes 8,000, then the entire 8,000 will be taxable. So guys, small societies, no problem. Big societies, expensive societies, problem, because it will become taxable. And last, any association, guys, association of farmers, association of plumbers, associations, up to 1,000 rupees per year if they charge, no problem. Above that, the entire thing will be subject to GST. This is very, very important. Let's see the sums also on this, guys. Trade union, guys, no problem. And then housing society, 7,000 per month is no problem. Above that is a problem. And for other associations, etc., up to 1,000 per member per year is no problem. Let's see, very good sums on this can be asked. RWA, that is Residential Welfare Association or Chulbul Housing Society, registered under GST. So first they are registered. They collected maintenance of 6,000 per month, guys. 6,000 means exempt. Chulbul Housing Society collected maintenance of 9,000 per month, guys. 9,000 means taxable because it's more than 7,500. Examination question will be very easy as long as you know this and you've seen this video a couple of times. Next, guys, if the aggregate turnover is more than 20 lakh in the GST chapter, registration chapter, we'll see that you have to take registration, and then above 7,500, it becomes taxable. There's another Residential Welfare Association charging 8,000 per month. Again, guys, it's taxable. This is what they're explaining in a diagrammatic format. You already know the diagrammatic format. Garib Chand, guys, poor man owns 2 residential apartments in a residential complex and pays 15,000 per month as maintenance, 7,500 each. Guys, for each flat you have to see, yes, for each flat you have to see. So it will be exempt because it's not exceeding 7,500. Excellent, guys, very tricky. Tintin Housing Society charge 9,000 per month. That will be taxable, guys. And now we've come to other exempt services, guys. The last one, which has a shortcut. Please remember the shortcut. If you want, you can also copy the shortcut here. Guys, you basically you are going for a recognized sporting body, FIFA, which is happening in Nepal and Bhutan. Where are you going, guys? You are right now in your city in India, but you're going for a recognized sporting body, FIFA, in Nepal and Bhutan. Let's see these things from the book. Guys, if any entity is being sold as a going concern, that means I'm selling my business as a going concern to someone. I have a hotel, I'm selling it to someone as a going concern, then there will be no GST, it will be exempt. Any recognized sporting body. Guys, recognized sporting body means anything which is a sporting body recognized by the government. They tell you in the exam, recognized sporting body, and you provide services to them as an individual sports player, as a referee. This list is important. As an individual sports player, as a referee, umpire, or a team manager, then it is exempt. As a physiotherapist, not exemption. As someone else, then no exemption, but has to be only these people: individual sportsmen, umpires, referees, and team managers are exempt. And so there are exemptions and there are exceptions, and one recognized sporting body to another is exempt. Guys, the FIFA under 17 women FIFA happened in, and that was exempt. And any transport of cargo to Nepal and Bhutan is exempt. Let's see these points from the other exemptions. Any transfer of entity on a going concern is exempt, guys. Let's see an example. Royal Hotel Group is in the business of running a chain of restaurants and intends to sell its business as a going concern. Will there be GST? No, because this is exempt. FIFA under 17 Women's World Cup was exempt. So going recognized sporting body FIFA. So let's spot recognized sporting body. Here is a recognized sporting body, guys. Let me just check where. Yes, recognized sporting body. Far away, but the shortcut will help you guys. Any individual, player, referee, umpire, coach, or team manager, those for any event organized by the recognized sporting body will be exempt. We'll do some amazing sums on this, guys. And they providing services to each other will also be exempt. So going recognized sporting body, FIFA in Nepal and Bhutan. Let's see where Nepal and Bhutan is. Cargo to Nepal and Bhutan. Transit cargo to Nepal and Bhutan is also exempt. So we've done this shortcut. Let's move to the next shortcut, guys. Going recognized sporting body FIFA to Nepal and Bhutan, that will exempt. Next, that's the first shortcut. I'm removing these. The second shortcut. So if you're going, what is going to happen to your house here? So your house here plus your hotel here, you're renting it out. House, hotel, you're renting out. Plus you have three cars, guys. You have three carriages here. Those three also you're renting it out. So house, hotel, and three carriages. What are you doing? You're renting it out. Let's check this shortcut, guys. Residential house rent is exempt. Hotel room is exempt, but you know up to 1,000 rupees per day hona chahiye. If it's more than 1,000, it will become taxable. Three carriages, very, very important, guys. What are the three carriages? What are the three carriages? One is any goods carriages, guys. Any goods carriages. If you are giving it to a goods transport agency, guys, goods transport agency transports the goods, they need carriages, you have the carriages, you give it to them, that will be exempt. Any electric vehicle or any other passenger transport vehicle. Any electric vehicle more than 12 passengers and any passenger transport vehicle more than 12 passengers. Basically, this includes buses, vans, big vans, etc. And any electrical car, etc. Electrical tempo, electrical bus more than 12 guys, both more than 12 passengers. But this, if it's given to a local authority like municipality, then it only exempt. And this is given to a state transport undertaking, only then it is exempt. That is very, very important. I'll repeat it. Residential house given on rent, exempt. Hotel rooms up to 1,000 given on rent, exempt. Three carriages. Anything to goods transport agency is exempt. No problem with that. But electric vehicle and passenger transport has to be more than 12 passengers. Electric vehicle has to be to a local authority, to municipality. Now, if you see in municipality, they run electric buses, guys. More than 12 passengers, yes. So if you rent it to them, that renting, there's be no GST. And if you rent passenger transport buses to them, more than 12 passengers, to state transport, not to government, guys, to the transport undertaking, then it will be exempt. Let's see it. Residential house renting is exempt. Hotel, etc. is exempt up to 1,000 per day is exempt. And those passengers vehicles, guys, very, very important. The first one is here. Giving a goods carriage to a goods transport agency is exempt. That was the first one. Electrically operated vehicle more than 12 passengers is exempt. That was the second one, but that is only and only to local authority. And guys, other passenger vehicles more than 12 to a state transport undertaking, only to state, not to governments, etc. Only to state transport undertaking, those are exempt. Nishant owns a truck which he has rented to Sindhu and Bansal Transport Agency, a goods transport agency. Guys, the renting of a garage to a goods transport agency will be exempt. Perfect. Next. So these are two shortcuts, guys. So you went to recognized sporting body FIFA in Nepal and Bhutan. And when you went there, what did you do with your house, your hotel, and three carriages? You rented it out. Third one. Electric news satellite. Guys, there's a satellite which is electric news satellite. What do they exhibit? They exhibit tall animal food. What do they show? Exhibit basically means show. What do they show? So guys, there are electric satellites up in the sky. They are electric news satellites. What do they exhibit? Tall, actually it's tall, but with the O, tall animal food. So guys, let's see the exemptions here. Electricity distribution transmission, guys, is exempt. But if they want to change your meter, if they want to charge you rent for that meter, then all that will be exempt. No, that will be taxable. So only distribution and transmission of electricity, pure electricity is exempt. Other things by the electricity company will be taxable. Collection of news, exempt. Launching satellites, guys. You help someone launch a satellite, you charge them money, but you don't charge them GST. Exhibitions, guys, are exempt provided they are outside India. I'll repeat this. First, understand it from here. Toll charges are exempt. Any slaughtering of animals, I know India is going towards and save animals, but slaughtering of animals, guys, is exempt. And any food testing is exempt. I'll repeat, food testing is exempt, slaughtering of animals is exempt. This you'll never have to remember. Just remember these lines. I'll help you remember the lines, guys. Toll charges are exempt. Exhibitions outside India are exempt. Satellite launches are exempt. News is exempt. And electricity distribution and transmission only is exempt. Let's see that. Electric first. Transmission and distribution of electricity only, guys. Not application fee, not rental charges for meter, not changing the meter. All that will be taxable. Electric, news. Guys, let's see where news is there. Collecting news and providing news. So electric, news, satellite. Next is satellite, guys. Let's see where satellite is there. Satellite launch services by Indian ISRO or Antrix Corporation Limited or New Space India Limited. These are Indian companies. Don't worry by hearting the names, but satellite services, launch services. So Indian, so electric, news, satellite. Next, exhibit. This shortcut is going to be golden, guys, for you to remember. Exhibitions outside India are exempt. Toll. So there's basically toll. Somewhere you will see toll. Toll charges are exempt. Slaughtering animals and testing of food. Slaughtering animals and testing of food. Just 1 second. Testing of food samples are exempt. So this is the shortcut. The third one, electric news satellites. What do they exhibit? They exhibit tall animal food. And the last one, guys, after that, the last one, guys, the shortcut is incubated. Incubated basically means like a startup. Incubated. What did they incubate? Imagine cold toilets, guys. Very cold toilets, libraries from foreign regions. So foreign it used to be always there, and now they've included India also. This is a shortcut, guys. Otherwise, how will you remember so many exemptions? Guys, any person who's incubated, what is incubated basically means it's a startup, technology startup. It's called an incubatee. Incubatee is like a small startup when they provide services up to 50 lakh rupees. That is exempt. Within 3 years of them becoming an incubatee, it's exempt. So if you're a small startup and they provide you're an incubatee and you provide services up to 50 lakh rupees within 3 years, that's exempt. Any cold chain information, not providing cold chain services, not providing cold chain, that is taxable. But cold chain information dissemination, that is exempt. Public toilets are exempt, thankfully, guys. Public libraries are exempt, thankfully. I had to put toilets and libraries together, that's a crime. Next, guys, foreign diplomatic missions are exempt, and RTI, right to information, under that act, when they charge you something, they will charge you money, but they'll not charge you GST because that is exempt. So incubated toilet, cold toilets, libraries, foreign regions. Let's see that. Services provided by incubatee. Who's an incubatee? Which provides high-tech and innovative product services. Those services up to 50 lakh within 3 years, that is exempt. Incubatee. Cold. Let's see what is cold. Cold chain knowledge dissemination by National Center for Cold Chain Development, that is exempt. Toilets, libraries I spotted here, so that is library. Toilets also will see here. Public conveniences. Toilets, cold toilets, foreign diplomatic missions, guys. Foreign diplomatic missions and RTI, as these are all exempted. These are all exempted. Let's see the 4 shortcuts that will help you understand and by heart this. Let's go back to the first one and then let's go forward, guys. These are the others. Just 1 second. These are the others. So where did you go, guys? You're going, so going concern, recognized sporting body, players, etc., sportsmen, referees, umpires, coaches exempt. FIFA, under 17, women's FIFA, the tickets as well as the entire event is tax-free. Nepal and Bhutan cargo is tax-free. And when you went there, what do you do with a house or hotel? House you rented, residential house, hotel up to 1,000 exempt. 3 carriages, guys, electric vehicle to local authority. Passenger transport to state government undertaking, both more than 12 passengers, and goods carriages to a GTA exempt. Electric distribution transmission exempt. News collection and exempt. Satellite launch by ISRO, etc., exempt. Exhibitions outside India exempt. Toll charges exempt. Animal slaughter exempt, and food samples exempt. Incubatee providing services up to 50 lakh exempt. Cold storage information exempt. Toilets exempt, thankfully. Libraries exempt, thankfully. Foreign diplomatic missions exempt, and RTI services exempt, thankfully. 15 questions back to back, guys, from the ICI module. You will do this and you will be a champion, guys, of these exam services. Let's straight away, these are all the revisions, so I'm just skipping the revision because we already have revised everything. Let's now straight away look at sums. First one. Exempt supply includes supply of any goods and services or both which attract nil. Yes. Exempt basically includes E, N, and N, non-taxable also. And which may be wholly exempt from tax. Yes. But excludes non-taxable. No, no, no. It includes non-taxable also. So this one is the wrong and you will correct the answer. First one done. Next. Services provided by an entity registered under 12A, registered charity and registered religious are exempt from GST if such services are provided by way of charitable activities. Not all of them. Most of them, yes. Which are the, elaborate the terms, guys, here. Public health. This is education, environment, and religion, which includes yoga and spirituality. Examine which of the following independent services are exempt from GST. Food supplied by a canteen run by a hospital to the inpatients. Guys, hospital to inpatients, food is composite and hence exempt. Yes, exempt. Resident Welfare Association registered under GST collects maintenance charges of 6,000, also exempt up to 7,500. Congratulations, guys. Very, very careful. An individual acting as a referee in a football match organized by a recognized sporting body, exempt. The same also acted as a referee in another charity football match. Charity football match will be taxable, guys. Only if it's recognized sporting body is exempt. Next one. RXL Private Limited manufactures a beauty soap with the brand name Forever Young. Organize a concert to promote the brand. Anna Kapoor is a brand ambassador. Already you know, guys, performance by artist as a brand ambassador, it will be taxable. Although they've given you 1.2 lakh, but don't get confused. As a brand ambassador, always taxable, no limit to the amount. Fees charged by a yoga camp, guys, yoga camp is exempt because it's provided by a charity. Business correspondent, business facilitator for rural branches, exempt. Remember, only rural branches to banks and insurance companies. Cord blood bank, guys, in healthcare, that was exempt. Selectors, amount charged by service provided by selectors to a recognized sporting body, guys, selectors are not included. Players, referees, umpires, coaches are included or selectors are not included, so this will be taxable. Excellent. Examine whether the following are exempted or not. Services provided by a private transport company to scholar boys higher secondary school. Guys, TCS services up to higher secondary is exempt, so this one will be exempt. Services provided by way of vehicle parking. We have not discussed parking at all, so this will be taxable. Next one, very interesting. A state transport undertaking has hired motor vehicles meant to carry 8 to 10 passengers from fast cab renting. Guys, this would have been exempt provided it was more than 12 passengers, but this will be taxable. Indiana Engineering College, a recognized education institution, has conducted an entrance test. Guys, entrance test, output also and input, everything is exempt. Ram, an agriculturalist, has started sugarcane in a warehouse, stored sugarcane, guys. He has taken fumigation service, storage of warehouse of agricultural produce, fumigation, everything is exempt. Purva acts as a team manager for Indian Sports Authority, a recognized sporting body, for a tennis tournament organized by a multinational company. Guys, team manager is okay. Recognized sporting body is okay, but guys, the match is organized by a multinational company. It has to be organized by a recognized sporting body because multinational company, it will become taxable. Bablu Transporters, a goods transport agency, transported relief materials, guys, for Kerala flood victims, exempt. Goods transport agency, guys, when they provide services to the government, exempt, to small entities, exempt, and they provide LL Dr. Nam, remember, that is exempt. This is Dr. Relief, R is relief material, exempt. Kevan Enterprises, an event organizer, they had a business exhibition in New Delhi, but they think it is not required to pay GST. Guys, exhibitions are chargeable to tax in India. Outside India, only if they're only outside India are they exempt. So this one will be taxable. Last two, guys, all your attention for the last two, then congratulations, you are masters of exemption chapter. You don't have to quote anything. The maximum you can quote is a notification number 12, 2017. That's all. And you have to get the correct answer. No theory here, only practical questions like these. Ekta Charitable Trust, which is registered, guys. It has given on rent a community hall located within the temple premises up to 9,500. 9,500 is okay. Guys, the moment you have 10,000 or more, that will become taxable. And for shops, 1,000, 10,000. For hall, 10,000. For rooms, 1,000. ST Limited has given 5 trucks on hire to T2 Transporters, a goods transport agency. Guys, giving trucks to a goods transport agency is also exempt. Congratulations, guys. What a session it has been. A long session because this exemption is a very important one and it is a very, very big one, but we mastered each of them through shortcuts. Guys, remember exemption, revise often. Please, the last shortcuts are very, very important. Anything can be asked, but minimum 10 to 12 marks is what you've locked in the exam from this session. Thank you and see you in the next revision lecture for chapter number 5.